Greetings, viewers. Welcome to the program Inspire Children with Memory. It's good to have you on the program once again. Thank you so much for the comments that you're sending through. Thank you for the reviews that you're sending through. And we believe we are impacting your home. You are part of this journey. We are continuing on a very important conversation that we started last time. We were talking about holistic parenting, and we tackled the issue of physical development of our children, how we can develop our children in terms of what they eat, getting time to rest, so that their minds and their brains develop fully. Today, Dr. Graham comes again to challenge us as Zimbabweans, to challenge us as a nation, to challenge our homes, and to challenge the way we do things. Some things that we normalize and think they're okay, yet they can be harmful to the development of our children. Today on the program, we want to look at issues around mental development and intellectual development of our children. And Dr. Graham is back in the studio to help us to unpack that aspect. Welcome back to the program, Dr. Graham.
Thank you, Memo, for having me once again.
Last time we had a powerful conversation, and it was difficult to exhaust it because, like what you mentioned, there's so many things that I feel we need to correct if we are going to, preserve the lives of our children, and more so the nation as a whole. Because remember, when we develop individuals, we are not developing them for ourselves, but we are contributing also to the national development. Yes. We are contributing to the livelihood of our communities. We are contributing to the, the bloodline, if I may say. Some would call it the bloodline. And so today, Dr. Graham, we want to talk about mental and intellectual development. Parents are also, parents and adults, sometimes when we talk about the word parents, many people assume it's the biological ones, but there are people who are parents, they might not be biological, the foster parents, the brothers who are taking care of their siblings, all those people, they fall into this bracket. So Doc, let's talk about mental development and the emotional development of our children. Can you talk more about, probably to give an understanding to everyone, what are we talking about when we mention mental capacity, mental development of our children, intellectual development? What is happening in that area?
All right. Thank you, Memo. Maybe just to begin by highlighting yet again that holistic parenting is when we are intentional about nurturing and developing the physical, the mental, the emotional, the social, and the spiritual aspects of our children. Mental development and emotional development are very, very key.
Exactly.
I'll be the first to admit that education is important.
Oh, yes.
My kids will tell you that. I'm very, very strict when it comes to their studies. Education is important, but mental development goes beyond that.
Exactly.
It goes beyond the grades. The emphasis for many parents has been, how are your grades? How are you doing at school?
Yeah.
As long as the grades are good, then we are satisfied with the mental development of our children. But let me tell you this, there are many kids out there that are having good grades, but that are mentally struggling. So mental development goes beyond just the intellectual development of the children.
Yeah.
It also looks at curiosity development. And here we are talking of healthy curiosity.
Exactly.
Because as parents, we have not been intentional. I continue to use the word intentional. Yes. Because this is very key to holistic parenting. We have not been intentional about creating opportunities for healthy curiosity.
Yeah.
Children being children, they will continue to be curious.
Oh, yes.
And it's unfortunate that they are experiencing unhealthy curiosity.
Yes.
So their curiosity is very harmful, because their curiosity is being created from the wrong things.
Yes.
So the things that they are seeing on TV, the things that they are seeing on social media, the things that they are seeing on YouTube, that they are seeing on TikTok, these things are creating a curiosity in them. And in many cases, an unhealthy one.
Yes.
All right. So we need to ensure that we create healthy curiosity. A child that is not curious is not developing well mentally.
Yeah.
So, as a parent, you're excited when a child, as they're growing up, they begin to ask a lot of questions.
Yes.
How does this work?
Yeah.
So what happens when this? So where does this come from? That curiosity is very important. You know, so number one, we need to ensure a healthy curiosity.
Yeah.
Number two, we need to look at them being able to make decisions, decision making.
Doc, I'm thinking of something here.
Yes.
Healthy curiosity. I want you to go back to that point.
All right.
You've talked about these aspects, and I've seen many parents, they kind of shut that aspect. When our children are young, they're asking questions, and adults, they say, you know what, I can't go to stop this. Talk about that behavior. Does it build our children well? When they're still young and they're inquisitive, they're asking healthy, and it's just shutting them up. Either shouting at them, shut up, what are you talking about? I don't have time to explain this. Can you talk more about that aspect? Because I believe there is a thrust there that you need to really pin. Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we also, as parents, have become too busy to parent.
Yes.
We want to have kids, but we don't want to parent. We've become too busy to parent. We've become also too self-absorbed as parents, where we tend to focus so much on us as well. So even when we're in the home and our kids are there, and if they're still in that age, 3 to around 12, they're very curious about a lot of things. Like what you say, they're very inquisitive. They want to know a lot of things. They want to ask questions, and it takes the heart of a parent.
Yeah.
Let me emphasize that. It takes the heart of a parent, not just being a parent, but the heart of a parent to be able to put everything else aside and attend to that curiosity. Attend to those questions. Encourage those questions. Build upon those questions to begin to teach truth, to begin to teach values, to begin to teach what is important and what is not important.
Yeah.
So as parents, it's said that we've been shutting our kids up. They come and say, I'm busy, and then how do we manage them? We give them a gadget. Go and play on the tablet. Go and watch cartoons. But they
it's like you're handing over the parent.
Yes. So the curiosity will not go away. They'll still want questions.
Want to know.
Yes.
They want answers.
And where now do you think they're going to go to for the answers? They go to the internet. And there we know there are people that are ever ready to provide answers. They'll provide answers, And we've lost it there as parents. So in the process, the kids have been pushed away into the wrong hands, into the wrong sources of information to address their curiosity. Number two, we might actually then destroy that curiosity altogether. They feel maybe this is not right. Maybe I should not be questioning things. Maybe I should not be inquisitive. Maybe I should not ask why. Maybe I do not need to know how things work. Why? Because every time that they've come up inquiring, we have shut them down. We've pushed that inquiry aside, and maybe we begin to talk about books. Those who can't buy it.
And the words that come out of adults sometimes.
Yes. And in the process, we are killing the child. We are killing their curiosity, and as we kill their curiosity, we kill their creativity.
They become dumb.
They become dumb, and they begin to fear dreaming. So as we kill their creativity, we kill their ability to be innovative. No wonder why sometimes when you look at other societies which are more liberal with their parenting, especially when it comes to this aspect of allowing their children to inquire and also attending to that curiosity, the children tend to do so much more at younger ages. But for many of us and many of our children in our communities, because this curiosity has not been nurtured, there's a child from a young age, you can see they are so interested about the universe. They are so fascinated about the stars. It's not every child that is. Someone is so fascinated about how animals behave from a young age. Someone is so fascinated just about business. You see them watching business news. They are not understanding anything, but for them, they just feel drawn to this. So that curiosity, if only we would nurture that, and let me tell you this: those are some of the first indicators of what God has placed in that child. the questions they ask, the things that trigger their curiosity.
Oh, yes.
Those are some of the first indicators. It's just that as parents, many times we are not attentive enough to notice.
Yeah, to observe.
To observe. You
understand
know,
our children.
yes. So, this one.
No, Doc, we'll come back to this point soon after the break. Viewers, don't go away. Today we are working on the mental capacity of our children. Welcome back, viewers, to the program Inspire Children. Today we are looking at how we can facilitate mental and intellectual development of our children. A very important aspect. I hope you are sitting and you're learning. So, Doc, talk more about, I wanted to ask this question just before we went on break. We talked about, why I asked this question? I've come across so many parents. And you hear this statement, but these children probably they are young, they are in their, they're little guys, 5, 6, they're young, grade 1. They tell you, "Mano, I am scans, I don't need." And you ask them, "Okay, Morguti man, I don't need." And they say, but I know it as a cat. And you can pick kuti vana an idea they don't know. Remember, we talked about many a times people will become parents and we are never trained, we are never taught, and sometimes we don't even take time to learn. So, Doc, I want you to answer this question for our nation, for our community. What are some of the things that people can do to facilitate this curiosity in developing it in a positive light? How do we facilitate kuti energy yaya in the right direction and it is built on one layer upon the other?
So the first thing, Memo, is listen.
Yeah.
Like what we've said before the break, many times when a child comes and they're expressing their curiosity, we shut them up.
Yeah.
So the first thing is just to take time to listen, hear them out, show enthusiasm, show excitement, So we listen to them. And then number 2, also take an interest in the things that is triggering their curiosity. So be seen to be one who is also interested in seeing them explore more in that area.
Oh, yes.
You are interested in seeing them, finding answers to their curiosity. So like what you've said, probably you see your kid is always opening up things in the home. You give them a toy, they open it up. Rather than, yes, as a parent,
take a toy, dura. That's what we usually do.
Yes, and no, yes, there's a place where we need to say, but then take time to want to understand. How are they processing things? What is it that is triggering them opening it up? So then also take an interest and come alongside them. Then from there, find a project that you can do together. That is along that child's curiosity. So if it's opening up gadgets, go and buy something that we are going to open this up. That is so much learning opportunity for the child. So you open it up together, you explain to the child how it works, you help the child, ask them to put it back together. So it also becomes a teaching moment.
Exactly.
So number 1, listen. Take time to hear your children out. Take time to engage with their curiosity.
Exactly.
Then number 2, take an interest. Take an interest in what is triggering their curiosity. Kids are very sensitive. They will know when you care and when you don't care.
True.
And when they feel you don't care, they will close that door. And it becomes difficult to have it opened again. So take an interest. Be seen to be excited about the things that are exciting them. Then number 3, go a step further where you now begin to intentionally nurture that curiosity. Do a project together. If they are so much into cooking, if their curiosity is in the kitchen, then bake some muffins together. Bring them in, have them do the mixing. Yes, get dirty in there with them. So you are now nurturing, and in the process, you are creating teaching moments.
Exactly.
And that is very critical. Do you know that lessons that are taught in such contexts, they stick with the kids than lessons that we sit them down and give instruction?
Oh, yes. They master it more.
Yes.
Doc, there's a challenge that you are pressing upon parents and adults right now from what you're saying. I am seeing that being a parent also means we have to have an interest in researching ourselves for the sake of building these young guys. You know, like when you talk about doing a project, it means me as a parent, I have a homework at a task to research the information that is around us. What are the activities that I can do with my child so that, you know what, I can have these teaching moments with them. You know, we're baking, we're working on a machine. So in essence, Doc, you are saying that, you know, parenting of today, you have to come out of the old box.
Yes.
And be a learning parent in
Yes.
order to teach, in order to support the mental, the intellectual development of this child. Can you talk more about that?
So like what we said last week, every generation demands a different approach.
Exactly.
Now, our generation was different, how we were raised because of our realities as well. Now, this generation, like I said, I continue going back to the exposure to information because this is very critical to the development of any child. So this generation has been exposed to so much information, which means it also creates so much curiosity in them. You know, so they so much want to understand the reasons why things work the way they do. So our generation was not taught to ask why.
You are just taking the instructions.
You know, and this has continued with us even into adulthood. We don't ask why. We just try to figure out how to get things going.
Yes.
No, but this generation, they've been socialized to want to understand why. Why is it like this? Why should it be like this? Why can it not be like this?
way.
You know, why do I need to do it like this and not this way? You know, so that places a demand on us as parents.
Yes.
We need to also begin to be clear about the whys of the things of life. Because a lot of questions are going to come.
They will come.
Yes, and they'll be wanting to know why. You know, why can I not do this?
Exactly.
So it's not going to cut it to say, no, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Just because I say so.
Yeah.
Or as long as you're under this roof, this is how it's not going to cut it for them. They will be quiet and then they close the door.
Close the door.
Yeah.
You know, I remember one time I came across a family and they were saying, you know what, they just get in the room, they shut the door. And I believe what you're saying is one of those contributing factors where we have closed certain doors and the youngsters say, okay, you want to live your life, I will live my life, I will not interrupt. They interrupt with everyone else except their parents.
Yes.
You know, and I believe what you're saying is very profound, Doc. And you know, we need to shift our mindsets. We need to shift the way we think and the way we do things if we are going to be relevant to this generation. Because like what you say, the truth is, this is a different generation.
It is.
Thank you so much. We'll come back to this discussion soon after the break. Viewers, do not go away. Welcome back, viewers, to the program. We are looking at mental development of our children. And, you know, Doc Graham is, you know, just ramming it into the gate. And he's saying, guess what? We have to change the way we do things. We have to become relevant to this generation and to the young people around us so that we develop them holistically. Doc, you know, you are the things that you're talking about, you know, few but transformational, powerful things. And let's talk more about the mental. You know, you once mentioned that we are putting so much pressure on the academics. And, you know, can you talk more about that area? And what is it that we need? How do we correct? It's like the world is putting pressure that, you know, we need higher grades, higher, you know, is it GPS? I don't know what they call it. But, you know, there's so much pressure around us. People want their children to go abroad and, you know, they're saying you have to make sure to get these grades, you need a scholarship. You know, talk more about how those things are damaging our children and then how do we strike a balance? Right. How do we strike a balance?
You know what, Memo, my biggest fear is we've been putting so much pressure and emphasis in training our children academically for a world that is no longer there. You know, I keep going back to our generation. When we were growing up, education was the only way out. At least it was presented as the only way out. You needed to be educated. The opportunities that were there demanded that you be a A grader. You know, it demanded that. But for the current generation, our children, the landscape has changed.
Yes, very true.
You know, the landscape has changed. It seems the world is no longer rewarding grades.
You can say that again.
The world is not rewarding grades. The world is rewarding solutions.
Exactly.
We are having students that are being trained, taught, coached to pass exams.
Yes.
You know, and that's why we're having these extra tuition, holiday classes, everything
Back
is
to back.
yes, back to back. It's geared to have the children have good grades, but it's not necessarily preparing them for life.
Yeah.
And this is where mental development becomes critical. Like I said, it goes beyond the grades. We are looking at the ability to be creative.
Oh, yes.
We are looking at decision making, and these are very critical because it is in your capacity of being creative, it is in your capacity to make decisions, good decisions, that you can provide solutions.
Oh, yes.
So we are having children that are scoring 20 points,
Yes.
15 points, 9 A's, 12 A's at all level, but they've not brought any value addition in their own homestead.
Yeah. Yeah. In their own homestead.
In their own homestead.
Yes.
We are not even thinking of the community.
Yeah.
You
Where
know,
you live.
where you live.
Yeah.
What can we say, you know what? We are so excited we are having Daniel here, and this is what he's done in this home. Do you know what? He got 30 points.
Yes.
You know, there's nothing to reflect
Yes,
the grades.
yeah.
There's nothing to reflect grades in how they are living their lives at home, in the community. So we have focused and emphasized on paper qualifications.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that not many people are rewarding anymore, because what people are wanting are solutions.
Exactly.
You know, so mental development should focus on developing our young people to be creative,
Exactly.
our young people to be innovative,
Yes.
our young people to make sound decisions.
Wow, powerful.
That's what we need to focus on. Then the grades, you know, the grades just become the fourth aspect of it,
Exactly.
not the only and main aspect of mental
Yeah.
development.
So it's like you are raising game changers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we want people, if going back to the Zimbabwe context where for higher education, we are looking at Education 5.0, where there's emphasis on industrialization. Now, we are not going to have people that are going to be leading in the industrial revolution in Zimbabwe if the emphasis is on grades.
Yes.
We need people that are thinking solutions.
Exactly.
We need people, and because we have killed curiosity, we've killed the place of asking why.
Yeah.
Because it's wanting to know why that we are able to understand the problem,
Oh, yes.
that we are able then to be able to develop the solutions. But because we've killed that,
Yes.
you see.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, this is true for many of our colleagues in our generation. We are not very good at providing solutions,
Yes.
but just highlighting the problem. We
Yes,
can
there's a
tell you what is
problem.
not going on. We can tell you what is not going on right.
Yeah.
But why, we might not be able to articulate that, and let alone be able to proffer solutions.
Right.
But this generation, it's a curious generation.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you know, because of the information that is around, it's a curious generation. And if we nurture that, we can actually have more solutions from this generation.
Exactly.
So we need to be intentional about making them good decision makers,
Yeah.
helping them being creative, innovative, and curious.
Yeah.
And how do we do that? How do we build good decision making in the kids? Involve them.
Yes.
You know, involve them in decision making early on.
Yeah. Train them to
Train them to make decisions. Yes. Create scenarios in the home where they are having to choose.
Yeah.
Then take them through that process, how they get to choose.
Oh,
Yes.
I love this. Yeah.
So you need to train them to make the right decisions. What do you consider when you're making the right decision?
Yeah.
You see. So we need to be intentional about that. And we need to begin to involve them. And this is very, very key as we are raising these Gen Z kids and Gen
Yeah.
Alpha kids. these need to be regarded more as partners.
Doc, thank you so much. This has been a profound discussion, and we look forward to more discussions. We still have, a number of aspects that we need to cover on this program, because I believe we really do need to develop our children holistically. Thank you so much for coming through. Dear viewers, thank you so much for joining us today on Inspired Children. Let's not kill the messenger. Let's not kill the children. Let's not kill the curiosity. And Doc brought it home today, and he says, you and I as adults, we have to learn, we have to be more, we have to go out there and get more information so that we can build the future of our children. We are able to do it, and you and I can make Zimbabwe a better home. Thank you for joining us. See you next time. Do send your comments and your views.